Good afternoon, all. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Anthony Carter, back at you with another edition of Visionaries and Truthtellers, where I reach out to people who I think are moving humanity forward, who are changing the planet and making us all change and grow as humans and as people. My guest today is Mr. McCormick. Should I call you Mr. McCormick, or are you older than me?
I don't know. I'm 49. How old are you?
No, you're not older than me. Okay. You're actually, I will be 53 this month. So you're 4 years older. I'll stick with Mr. McCormick. Okay. so
Actually, no. Let's go with Javon.
okay. So Javon is with me today, Javon McCormick. He is a writer, a thinker, a planner. From what I've heard, a very compassionate individual who moves in the world not from a place of victimhood, but a place of solutions and what can we do and how I can make the world a better place. So, without further ado, Mr. Javon is going to talk to us. He's going to start with a 30-second bio. If it goes a little longer, we will allow it because he's so fascinating. So, Mr. Javon, take it away. Give us your 30-second bio.
Oh, wow. I didn't know I was going to have to. I thought you were giving the 30-second
No.
bio. Wow. How do I introduce myself? I'm going to say how I view myself. That's how I'm going to introduce myself. So I am a a loving husband. I do my best to be a great father, and I do my very best to be a leader for the people that I serve here at Scribe. I'll dive into that. So my life is five things: God, health, family, business, and investing. If it doesn't fall in
Wow.
those five, I don't do it. So in that all came together by way of just the chaotic background that I came from. I
Mhm.
mean, you know this, Anthony. My dad was a black pimp in the 1970s, and he fathered 23 children. My
Mm.
mother is white. She was an orphan, so she lived in a 1950s institutional orphanage, basically call it a kids' prison.
Mhm.
And when she turned 17, they gave her a small suitcase, $20, and said, "There's the world." And unfortunately for my mother, one of the first people she met was my well-dressed, fast-talking, quite a bit older father.
Mhm.
So that's what I came into the world to. Man, I was in juvenile prison three different times as a kid. I was sexually molested by one of my dad's prostitutes by the ages of 6, 7, 8 years old. I never graduated high school. I had to
Mhm.
go to summer school, get my GED. I never went to college. I don't have a college degree. And along the way, I taught myself how to invest in the stock market. I've learned payday loans. I've learned the mortgage industry. I've been the president of a software company, and now I'm the CEO of Scribe Media. So God bless America.
Okay. That was a mouthful. That was a little longer than 30 seconds, but we like it. Very fascinating. So let's jump right into it. You gave me your big five. This could be one of your big five or something else. What excites you these days? What are you excited about?
It is those five. I stay constantly excited about those five together. You know, every morning, first thing I do when I get out of bed, I say my prayers. I go over to the couch. I give thanks. I give gratitude. Thank you for allowing me to wake up, see another day. And then it's make the most of every day. Head to the gym, come home, help my wife get the kids ready for school. Then I'm off to the office. Come home, it's dinner with the family. Get everybody homework, baths, read some books, play a little bit, and do it all over again. And I say do it all over again because it's a blessing. It's not like some people say, and then you get up and do it all over again. No, I get to do it all over again. It's awesome.
Mm.
So I see it as a great blessing that I have to be able to do it all over again. Here's the way I would say it, Anthony. I live by the 1 mile radius rule. If you walk outside your front door or your office door within a 1 mile radius, there's somebody who'll trade places with you. And I never forget that. And
Oh,
that's the way
okay.
I live life.
Okay. Wow. I'm gonna let that sink in for a moment. That's very powerful. And Something you said that there's a word you used that I have taught myself to use. I would say the last 5 or 10 years. A friend of mine was asking me yesterday about how did I get. We were talking about being in survival mode and what that looks like. And she point blank asked me, "Are you in survival mode?" Because she didn't know. Like we know each other, but we don't know each other, kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
said, "No, I moved myself out of that. I'm not in. I mean, I'm not Oprah wealthy, but I mean, but I'm not. I mean, I don't have like people. Oh, I have extra. I was like, no, you don't have extra unless you're Oprah or Bill Gates. They have extra. The rest of us, we do a little. But what I was telling her, I said, well, no, I'm not in survival mode anymore. And I've moved myself out of that. And I moved myself out of that. I started the process really hardcore about a decade ago. And one of the first things I did was look at how I started training myself to think differently. And the thinking, I don't know what came first, changing of the thinking or the behavioral change. But I know when I changed the behavior, how I was doing things, everything else fell into place. I'm saying all that to say, you mentioned a word. You said people say they have to. You get up and you have to do this again. And you mentioned get to do it. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I was writing it this morning because I write every morning. I journal every morning. One of the things I remind myself, because I had written that this morning. Oh, I have so many things I have to do. And then right under that, I said, no, that's not correct. I wrote down, I get to do, and I said,
Right.
I have so many options, or so many things I, have to do. And right under that, I wrote, I get to do a lot of different things. Or I get to have access to a lot of options. What would I like to do? So I think just changing that wording changes how it settles and it changes your behavior. So this is kind of a little bit off script, but let me ask you this: how important is language to
Everything.
changing? Okay.
Everything. You know this. We talked a little bit beforehand. Words that I've eliminated from my vocabulary: hope, wish, and luck.
Okay.
I do not use those words. And many people are a bit offended when they hear me say I won't use the word hope. And I'll break it down. I'll go into it. Hope. Here's why I don't use it. So for me, when I was a kid, and I would hope my dad would come pick me up, that he would show. He never showed. When I would hope there was food to eat when I got home, never produced anything. So I stopped hoping. But what I did start, and I changed the word was with belief. See, in my opinion, belief forces execution. If you believe something, if you believe you can have something, then you've got to go execute to make that happen. And so, Anthony, I've got a pastor friend of mine, been friends for years, and he said to me, he goes, "Man, Javon," he goes, "I can't take hope out of my sermon. I said it 16 times last Sunday." I said, "Okay, I'll make this real easy for you." And keep in mind, he's a pastor.
Hmm.
I said, "Do you want me to hope there's a God, or do you want me to believe there's a God?"
Hmm.
I said, "Because if I hope there's a God, well, that's not really committing to a godly life. But if I believe there's a God, then I have to commit to living a godly life." And he looks at me and he's quiet and he says, "Damn." I never thought of it that way. And I said, so for me, everything's belief. If you believe you can have that promotion, then you're going to have to go execute to get it. If you believe you can have the big house, then you're going to have to execute to do the things that you need to do to get the house. Same thing with wish. Wish is horrible. That doesn't do anything. You can
No.
wish upon that star all night. Nothing's going to
Hmm.
happen. And so I've got 4 children, 7, 5, 3, and 2. And so we have a
Whoa.
lot of birthdays at the
Yeah,
house.
right.
When that cake hits the table and we get ready to sing happy birthday and it's time to blow out the candles, we don't say make a wish at the McCormick house. We say make a goal. Okay, what's your goal? And because wishing won't produce anything. So you can blow
Right.
out the candles and wish and throw a quarter in the pond or the fountain. Doesn't produce anything. So make a goal. And then luck, from where I come from, how I grew up, there was nothing lucky about it. So I don't believe in luck. And when I hear someone say, "Oh, well, what about the lady that won the $900 million
Hmm.
Powerball?" She wasn't lucky. She bought a ticket. She executed.
Right. Okay. Interview's done, folks. Good night. Yeah, but I like that. I was teaching a group of young people yesterday because that's what I do in my day job. and we were doing goal setting. And the first thing I had them do, I said, give me a start date when you're going to start this and a completion date. And then in the very last thing I asked him, I said, so, and how are you going to know you've reached this goal? Like, what will you physically be able to see or do or handle that you reach this goal? And we talked about the importance of deadlines. I said, if you don't have a deadline, it's a wish.
Right.
Maybe you'll do it, maybe you won't, maybe sometime this year, because there was one or two of them who were saying they wouldn't give a date, and I wouldn't let up. I was like, no, we need a date. So that way, if you tell me this is going to happen in 60 days, and then we talked about reasons versus results. I said, well, one of two things is going to happen. Either you'll have a result, like you said you wanted to do X, you wanted a new car by this date. Either you'll have the car or you won't. And I said, if you don't have it, you're going to have a whole bunch of reasons, which is the PC term for excuses.
Right.
You have a lot
Right.
of reasons why you don't have a car. And I said, let's do that now. So give me a reason why this wouldn't work. And they had a bunch of them. I said, see, you already got reasons why.
Yep.
This is why we're doing this exercise.
I like that you said it was a PC here in the office. People know, okay, I don't want excuses. I said, well, here's the reason. I go, look, reason is just a cute word for excuse.
Right. Just like Les Brown says, maybe is a polite no.
Yes.
You're not gonna do it. You're not gonna
Right.
do it. So yes, reasons and results. We're looking for results, people. Okay. All right. So let's move on. So I was gonna ask you about hope or belief, but you already covered that. That was one of your blog posts. You cheated. Okay. Tell me about UBT, Uncle Bobby time. Let's hear about time.
Oh man, Uncle Bobby time. So as a 13, 14-year-old boy, who used to wait for his father to come pick him up, no one ever really taught me about punctuality. The most I had ever learned about punctuality was the bus schedule. The bus is going to pick you up at 1. You better be on the bus because it won't wait.
Mhm.
But Uncle Bobby taught me not only UBT time, Uncle Bobby time, he also taught me in keeping your word at the same time.
Mhm.
So this is a pretty harsh story. So my Uncle Bobby, I'm living with him at the time, and we're going to go to church vacation. And so Friday night, he tells my aunt, my 4 cousins, he says, okay, tomorrow morning, Saturday, we're leaving at 10 a.m. sharp. If my Uncle Bobby says it, it's happening. And so it's about 9:30, and my aunt says, hey, Bobby, I'm going to run up to the store and get those cashews that you like. And he goes, no, you're going because you forgot something. You're not going for me. And he goes, look, I'm leaving at 10 a.m. Then he points at his watch. So I had learned the dynamic of the house. I'm like, okay, Uncle Bobby controls the money. I'm staying here. And so my aunt, my cousins all go to the store. I stay with Uncle Bobby. We're loading up the van. It's about 5 till 10. I run to the end of the driveway. I'm looking, I'm like, man, where are they? And I say, hey, Uncle Bobby, I'm going to go upstairs and get my football. He says, son, I know what you're doing. I'm leaving at 10 a.m.
Right.
I come down. He's shutting the doors. He said, all right, let's go. We get in. He starts the band. We leave. We're going out of state on church vacation. Leaves. This is back in the early 80s. So there's no cell phones and there's no way to track somebody down.
Texting.
So we leave. Well, this is the first time I've even been on something called vacation. In fact, I remember he had to teach me what vacation meant at that point. I didn't know what a vacation was. So we're leaving and we stop and get some gas and some snacks. I'm thinking, man, this vacation thing is nice. And so we get to the hotel and he goes, hey, let's go, walk around and let's go look and see the golf course, whatever. I said, okay, great. So about 3-4 hours later, guess who shows up? My aunt and my cousins. And my aunt is heated. Bobby, I can't believe you left us. Blah, blah, blah. And she just lights into him 5 minutes straight. It seemed like she didn't even take a breath. She just kept going. And my uncle stood there, stone face, not a word, no emotion. She stops and he looks at her and he says, are you finished? And she said, yes. And he goes, just stone face. I said 10 o'clock. And I would right there in that moment, I thought, oh, if he said it, he means it. And that's where I learned punctuality. And I put my own, I added my own piece to it as I got older. No one has ever been fired or missed an opportunity for being 30 minutes early. But I know a ton of people who have been fired or missed an opportunity for being 2 minutes late.
Oh yeah.
So I've always expressed to people, be 30 minutes early to an interview. It's not rude. And I said, here's why it's not rude. If you look at how you can approach this, if I show up to the interview 30 minutes early with you, Anthony, and the assistant, whoever it is, says, oh, well, Anthony's still in the meeting. He'll be with you at 10 a.m. Okay. If they go and tell you, hey, your 10 a.m.'s here, I know it's 9:30, you're thinking to yourself, man, he's early, whatever. And so then we get into the room. Here's what I'm going to do. Hey, Anthony, I know I was 30 minutes early, but the way I live, no one's ever missed an opportunity or been fired for being 30 minutes early. So I'm always early. What I just did right there was completely stand out from all the other interviews on just that alone. And so that's what I've always looked at, is no one's ever been fired or missed an opportunity for being 30 minutes early.
Wow, that's true. I have to have you come talk to my young folks, because they don't. 'Cause many times they don't believe me, and I keep telling them, I'm like, the world doesn't wait on you. The
No,
world can be very supportive. The world can be very, it can be benign. It can be very supportive, but it's imperative that you do your part. Show
I
up
know
early, be flexible, and be prepared.
I know a lot of people won't agree with this.
Hmm.
I personally feel in our society, especially right now, punctuality, manners, discipline, structure,
Hmm.
lost art. I mean, it's
Hmm.
just, and I look at it, in some ways it's sad, and sometimes it makes me very happy, because I tell my wife, I go, you know what? Society's kind of set our kids up to be very successful by doing, because the bar is so low.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's
or as
not
I call it, non-existent.
right. I mean, if I just say yes, sir, I just stood out
Oh
in
yeah.
the crowd.
Hmm.
So I'm big. It's still, again, learned it from Uncle Bobby. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Please. Thank you. Be on
Please and
time.
thank you. Hmm.
Yeah, please and thank you. Excuse me. If you go to the restroom, if you're at the airport, your office, wherever, school, and there's a paper towel on the ground, and you're walking out, take literally 3 seconds. Pick it up, put it in the trash. Where you so good you can't pick up a paper towel and put it in the trash can? Because who you are when no one's looking is who you are when everyone's looking.
Right. And my version of that is, how you do everything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
So when you find people, I was just having a conversation this morning with somebody, and I said, nobody should be surprised when X, Y, and Z happens. I'm talking
Hmm.
about behavior. And I said, because if I've watched you do this behavior, it's not going to change just because now you're down the street doing work with a new group of people. You're going to do the same thing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I'm very big on. I have 9 grandkids, and I'm very big on manners and please and thank. And I'm always on them about that. Please and thank you, because nobody owes you anything.
Right.
Like my one of the things I teach my young people, and I've worked with people who are homeless. I've worked with young folks that just out of prison. One of the things I teach, and maybe people make fun of me for it, and my husband oftentimes looks at me kind of sideways, is thank you cards, thank you notes.
Yeah.
Somebody does something for you, like I'll send you one for today. You came on, you didn't know me. You could have said, no, you're running a company. You could have said, well, I don't, who is this person?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that people give you they're willing to share their time with you. I've built, um, I've had situations where I've been in a job and somebody said, we want you to go launch this new division, right? We want you to have this pilot program. And the only thing I had to build it on was me and the way I have carry relationships and the way that I, say thank you to people. It's like I'm working with a group now, and when I first started with them, it was like maybe 5 or 6 people. Well, now it's tripled. It's 20 different companies that I'm working with, and I'm using them a lot with a lot of employer engagement to come in and talk to young people about professionalism and networking and resumes. But I did that by literally connecting with each one of those people. Every Tuesday, I send them something. It may be a video, it may be something about leadership. It's, sometimes, and every second or third Tuesday, I don't know that if they picked up on it, every second or third Tuesday, I will do a call. So they're actually hearing me, right?
Yeah.
And people don't understand. It's like, it's those little tiny things, which is why, every one of those people will do anything I ask them to do. And people always ask me, well, how come people always willing to do stuff for you? I'm like, well, I don't wait till I need something to call
Right.
somebody.
Yep.
When every time you see me, that's the only reason you only see me when I need something. I was
When I
like, that's
need
how you build a
something.
relationship. I'm like, if I said, think of it like a marriage. Would you want to be married to somebody and everything was gimme, 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 gimme? I said, no,
Right.
you want somebody who says, what are we going to do together? Like, what can we build together,
Yeah.
right? That I couldn't build by myself. Or what are we going to do to create something really wonderful as a couple or as a pair or as a company, as opposed to what can I get out of Javon?
Yeah.
Well, nobody wants to be bothered with that.
Right.
And I
Right.
think, like I say, and it's a very subtle difference. And like I say, I think, like you said, the bar has been set low because, even people that you think would know better.
Yeah.
I see professional people or people on TV, and it's like, are you really carrying on like that?
It's like I said, society has set a low bar on professionalism as a whole. So it's sad as it is. Like I said, man, it sets my kids up really
Yeah,
well.
we'll turn it around.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about one of your blog posts. The hustle is not real. Let's have it.
The hustle is not real. So, so a couple of things. Let me give you the whole backstory to that and how we got there. So, because a lot of people were critical of me because they're like, "Well, you used to have painted on the wall, the hustle was real," and so here's a couple of things that came from it. Again, we'll go back to society. It's funny how society picks and chooses what's acceptable, what's not, what we want to cancel culture, what we don't. And here's a great example of this. My father was a real life pimp, a pimp. He put women on a street corner, they sold their bodies, and he took every dollar. He was a pimp. If women got out of line, it got physical. They got beat. And he was a pimp. Fast forward, pimp is now a positive word because society said it was okay to say pimp my ride, pimp my apartment. Oh my gosh, Anthony's a pimp. I love Anthony. And we've completely shredded the actual meaning
Mhm.
of the word pimp. Even this, go back a little bit, Anthony. Think of the word. If you look up the word pimp, it's a man who exploits women for financial gain. Well, the greatest pimp of all time was Hugh Hefner, but
Mhm.
nobody, but nobody ever looked at Hugh Hefner
Right,
as a pimp.
right.
So the word hustle. I come from an environment of real hustlers, pimps, hustlers, drug dealers, by any means necessary, how they're going to make a dollar. So I grew up learning how to hustle. And as I got older, the hustle was real. I'll out hustle anybody. But what I noticed was the word was starting to be really, you had people saying hustle that didn't know a damn thing about hustling. And I'm like, wait a minute. It literally, it would be like one of my kids being right now, let's say one of my kids was 19. And my kids grow up in a gated community. They go to private Christian school. It'd be like one of my kids saying, "Yeah, Dad, hustle is real." What the hell do you know about hustle? And so I first looked at it from that perspective, and I'm like, I don't want to use a word that everybody else is using.
Mhm.
And then the other piece of it as well is I started noticing how it was being used. I hustle and grind all night, don't no sleep, and so I was like, I did that for years, slept on 3 and 4 hours, thinking, okay, I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to grind. I'm going to get out here. And then someone said, hey, you got to get more sleep. If you
Mhm.
got more sleep, you'd actually be more
More
productive.
productive.
And I was like, I don't know. Because the thought of it really, I'll man up. It scared me to think, okay, if I sleep 3 extra hours, that means somebody else is ahead of me. They're doing more than me. And that scared me. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna give it 1 week. And so I started sleeping 5 hours. Then I got to six. I can't, I've not gotten past 6.5. I'm really
Mhm.
good right there. But
Mhm.
what I noticed is, yes, I'm actually more productive
Mhm.
on more sleep. So we painted over it here in the office. We took it down, and I have never said the word hustle again, because it was taken out of context. It's not used the right way.
Mhm.
And people have just like they've done to hustle the same thing they've done to pimp.
Mhm.
So yeah, the hustle
And don't know anything about either one.
and don't know anything about either one. And so the hustle is not real. But now but work ethic is, and
Yes.
work ethic is consistent.
Mhm.
You can't have a great work ethic for a half hour. You can't have great for a week. You know, you work ethic
Right.
is consistent. That it's
Right.
who you are.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, there's no more. The hustle was real. I won't say the word. It's painted over. It's gone. It's
Okay.
we buried the hustle.
Yeah, we got rid of the hustle. Lose the hustle. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about here's the another one I'm gonna talk about, and then we'll talk about Scribe Media and writers. So tell me about what are you waiting for? Was it yeah, what are you waiting for? That was one of your posts, one of your
Give
blog posts.
give me a little more into that. I feel
You
like
wrote it.
I know what you're talking about. So here's the thing that I find just hilarious to me. Matter of fact, this just happened. We went through this time period. Happens every year. Um, you'll the end of the year comes. It's first week of December, and somebody will say something like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to start back January 1st." Or you know what, I'm about to do this. And where I come from, low economic community, and I was raised around a lot of blacks, and in the black community, someone was always about to do something. I'm about to do
Right.
this. I'm
Yeah.
about to. Someone's always about to do something, and no one's doing anything.
Right.
And so what I started picking up on is people would say, "Oh, I'm going to start back January 1st. Oh, I'm going to start going back to school in January. I'm going to look into this in January." And I thought, what are you waiting for? What if January doesn't come? Well, what if what? And here's the thing that would get me. You're saying that on December 3rd, so you've got all
Giving
of this
yourself
time in
to think
between,
about
right?
it.
That you could actually be taking action
Yeah.
on this, but you're going to wait until January for some fictitious date that someone said New Year's
Right.
resolutions. And I'm like, what? Why? What is that for? If anything, I've always felt like I know for me,
Mhm.
I will set birthday goals, and what I mean by that is what did I accomplish at the age of 49 to 50? That's more of what I'm not. I don't care about what did I do within a calendar year of some New Year's resolution. And then here's what's funny about it. Again, you know this, maybe not so much this year because of the virus, but everybody floods the gym the first 2 weeks of January. By mid-February, it's then back out,
Right.
and no one's in the gym. And
Right.
so I just find it to be interesting that people wait to start things. Just
Mhm.
like start. If you say you want to, I'm going to go back to school. Okay, then right now, or when you get home this evening, okay, let me look into what I've got to do to go back to school. If I'm going to
Mhm.
start a business, let me start the plan. Let me write it down. Let me execute.
Right.
Actually
Mhm.
execute. Don't just well, I'm about to do this, and I'm going to wait till January, and no, start.
It's so funny when people say that to me. I always say my snappy comeback. My retort is always, so then what's going to be different between now and then? Like if you're waiting, like you said, January 1st. I always ask people, what's going to happen? Like, what do you need 30 days to think it over? Do you need? I
Right.
mean, what?
Well, it's Christmas. It's Christmas time, and we want to make some cookies, and we want to relax a little bit. You've
Right.
been relaxing all year.
When you get a chance, I might send this to you. When you get a chance, I'm sure you've heard of him, but have you heard of the motivational speaker Zig Ziglar?
Yes.
Okay. Well, he has this thing about being cooked in the squat and about somebody getting ready to start something. And he said, it's hysterical. It's about 4 minutes long. It's hysterical, and it's all about somebody's getting somebody's supposed to be doing something. They're gonna start something, and they said, well, why don't you? And he says, but the person basically says, we know why don't we get started today? And the person, whoever it is, says, well, no, I've got to do. He has these reasons why he can't start. I think he's got to pick up his kids from school. He's got to do something. They said, okay, well then what? Then he said, well, what about they kind of move the date out a little bit. Well, no, that's Thanksgiving, and then blah 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 blah. Then it's Christmas. Then he said at one point he said, no, it's spring, and you said you can't. All work and no place no good. So I haven't wet my hook. I'm gonna go out and do some fishing. And then he said, okay, well now you know it's just longer. Like so, then
Yeah.
it becomes, well, no, it's Easter.
Yep.
Like, okay, now we got to. Then the kids are out of school, so you got to run around everything. Now they're back in school.
Yep. So it's always
So it's
you
all these.
you
It's
can
all
always
of these
find something.
right. It's like I used to have this mentor used to tell us. He was like, the only thing you can do it now, you can do it later. The only difference is it's later. It's not going to be any easier. It's not going to be, this is fun. It's something, it might be something you have been putting off. It's just later. That's the only difference. More time has passed. But
I look at it like this, Anthony. It's funny. I always say to myself, okay, June 1st is coming with or without me.
Mhm.
So what am I going to do between now and then?
Is that your birthday?
No.
Okay.
No, I just look at, if people say, well, I'm going to start June 1st or I'm going to start, okay, well, it's coming with or without you. What are you going to do in between time? What's going to be next for you in between? Because there's so much more you can accomplish while you're waiting on June 1st, because it's coming with or without you.
That's what I tell my young folks about getting their high school diploma. And I say, they're doing this and doing that. I said, well, look at it this way. And I used to always tell them, okay, like if graduation is, let's say graduation is June 20th. I said, June 20th, whether you like it or not, however you feel about it, it's going to come and go.
Yeah.
So either you will have gotten a diploma and graduated, or you haven't. But it's not personal. It's just like I was talking to my mom the other day we were talking about money, and I was talking about when I teach young people about finances and the difference between an inconvenience and an emergency. I say, yeah, if you've planned and you've put money away, the things that come up are inconvenient. When you have no money, everything is a crisis and everything is an emergency.
Right. Yeah.
And we're talking about that. I said, just like you tell people about saving money. And I said, before you tell me that Christmas is coming, I'm going to let you know now that's not an emergency. We've been doing Christmas at least 3,000 years.
Right.
So it hasn't changed. We've been doing Christmas for a very long time.
Yep.
This is not new. It didn't sneak up on anybody. But all right. Tell me something about Scribe Media and how you support writers. I'm gonna switch gears.
Oh, wow. So Scribe Media, we are 6 years old and we help authors write, publish, and market their books. So some of the bigger names that people would know that we've worked with, Tiffany Haddish, the comedian,
Okay.
David Goggins, the former Navy SEAL. He's got the best-selling memoir of all time, second only to Michelle Obama, and so
Wow.
that's some great company to be in there. One of my favorite books that we did is for Janice Bryant Howroyd. So she is the first Black woman in America to own a billion-dollar company. Most people think it's Oprah, and it's not.
Mhm.
It's Janice Bryant Howroyd. So she was one of my favorites to work on. We've done a book with the Nobel Peace Prize Committee that spoke volumes about our quality.
Mhm.
Overall, we've worked with 1,800 authors. Like I said, we're 6 years old. One of the things we're very proud of, there's no debt, no loans, no venture capital money, and no private equity, and we are profitable. And so we make the joke that, yeah, we're the real unicorn, not WeWork. And but yeah, we again, so for myself, I had no clue where to start to do my book. And I can't tell you an adverb from an adjective, and I damn sure can't spell. And so I had no clue how my book was going to get done. And what our process allows is for someone to sit back, grab their beverage of choice, and speak their book. And so we capture all those details, all the stories that make for a great book. And it's been proven. This is a factual statement. One of the hardest things to do is to think and write at the same time, because you can think faster than you can write. So by the time you get that next story in your head, you're trying to write it down. So we don't want you to actually write. We want you to sit back. It's all your content. This is your book. All we're doing is making sure it's structured correctly, it flows correctly, the punctuation's in there correctly. And we help you with the cover design, the interior layout.
Wow.
Yeah, we get it published up on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, iBooks, Google Play, all that good
Okay.
stuff. Yep.
Wow. What about somebody who's not famous?
Oh gosh, only 2% of our authors are, you know, the famous people. Of the
Okay.
1,800 people we've worked with,
Hmm.
there's only maybe 100 of them that are
Oh, okay.
quote unquote famous. Most of the people we work with, entrepreneur, we're strictly nonfiction.
Hmm.
So entrepreneurs, CEOs,
Okay.
consultants, people who want to do a legacy piece. My book was a legacy book. I did it
Hmm.
strictly for my kids. So yeah, the great majority of all, like I said, 98% of our authors, no one would know who they were.
Okay. Good to know. I want to send you some of my stuff because I self-publish. I've done 8 books, and
Nice.
I've self-published them. And then one was science fiction, and the other ones are nonfiction. They're essays, and then I've got
Yeah.
one that's all about reinventing yourself, which I'm getting ready to trot out again because of this COVID thing. It's all these tips about basically, how do you turn everything around when everything is kind of a mess.
Yeah.
And I wrote, it's a book that I wrote years ago, so we'll connect on that at a later date. Okay, very quickly because I want to make sure I'm respectful of your time. Um, you said you have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and did you say a
Se-
9-year-old?
7, 5, 3, and 2.
7, 5. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, the party is always started in my house.
Well, enjoy them because they'll be big and out of that house before you know it.
Yeah, especially even right now, I can look at my 7-year-old and just see. I got a 7 and a 2, and I can remember when the 7-year-old was 2,
Mhm.
and so it's like I've got human calendars in front of
Right.
me to see how fast they grow
Oh
and how
yeah.
they change. So yeah, it's fun, it's chaotic. You know, to me, here's all that matters. If they're healthy, everything I can always make more money. I can, but as long as you're healthy, that's all that matters.
Okay. So I'm gonna wrap us up on it. That's a really great note to end on. One or two follow-up questions for that. One quick thing. Tell me, what is your what is your hope for humanity or for human beings? We're
Well,
in a really interesting time now. What is your hope for us?
Anthony, I'm gonna hit you up with this one and tell you, I just told you I don't do hope.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Okay. What is your belief?
My belief is that I won't even call it a belief where we
Mhm.
are right now in our society. I'm actually
Mhm.
going to say it's a want
Okay.
for humanity, for our society, and I'll just speak on the United States as a whole because that's where we are, obviously. Um, I want people to accept one another. Hell, you don't even have to respect, but accept one another. That we have differences of opinions. That especially for me, why this is so important. Being half white, half black, not a good look back in the 70s. Black people didn't like me because I was half white. White people didn't like me because I was half black. I was never black enough. I was never white enough. It just I never had any place to fit in, and I was never quote unquote accepted. And so what that did for me in a very positive and good way was it taught me to accept others' beliefs, others' views,
Mhm.
other, I still tell my wife this all the time. I said, yeah, our kids go to private Christian school, but you know what? I'm 100% okay with gay marriage. And if they want to try to kick me out of the school because of that, hey, let's see what happens. But I, I I'm accepting because I know what it's like to not be accepted. And,
Okay.
and that's very important for me. And I feel like we would do so much as a society and as a country if we just accepted that we all have differences of opinion. And that's the want in our country. We don't I don't You don't have to like the fact that I'm mixed race. You don't even have to
Mhm.
respect it. But just accept that, you know what? I'm a person. I have feelings, I bleed, and I have children, and I'm a productive member of this society. So maybe you don't respect that I'm mixed race, but you do have to accept it.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll buy it. It cutting you loose early. So I got in at the time. Uncle Bobby would be very proud. I would not get left. Those old guys don't play.
No.
That's what we're missing now. Those older folks like my grandmother and who's from Texas and those older people. They did not. You did things this way, and that was it. So there's something to be said for that. Well, Mr. Javon, thank you. This hour has flown by. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You will be hearing from me very soon. I'm going to talk to you at a later date more about Scribe Media. Anything else you want to share before we sign off?
Man, I'll leave it with this, and I'll be quick with it. In speaking of society and everything as well, I would tell people to watch themselves on social media, and what I mean by that is, we walk around in life right now, and everyone's talking about work life balance. And as soon as you say that, everybody goes down the work path. Don't work 60, 70 hours a week. Oh, we should only have a 4-day work week. Don't check your emails first thing in the morning. Everyone attacks work when you say work-life balance. Very few people look in the mirror and attack themselves on life balance. How about you not sit there and binge watch all weekend and then wake up on Monday because you're mad because you hadn't achieved your dreams and goals? How about you not go to the club Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then wake up Monday pissed off because you haven't achieved your dreams or goals? And it's funny. We'll sit there and Anthony, we'll sit there and celebrate. Oh my God, I binge watched Game of Thrones all weekend. When's the last time you heard someone say I binge studied my retirement plan all weekend? We don't. And so the whole thing for me is, I would say, limit your social media. It's there are some benefits, but in my opinion, it has quickly turned to more negative than positive.
Mm, okay. All
That's all I
right.
got, man.
Okay. Well, that's plenty. So enjoy the weather there in Austin, Texas. I'm sure it's nice. It's nice here in California. Enjoy it. Take care of those babies. They'll be big and out of the house before you know it. I will talk with you very soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me.
Excellent. Take care, sir.
Okay, thank you.